proclaim to be. You ought to be rooted so much so that even if it take your life, that you know that you died for the cause of Christ, and that in suffering God will somehow make a way for you, somehow work it out for you. Somebody is saying, well, preacher, how can you stand up there and say to us that we ought to accept the pain in our life? We ought to accept the suffering when people are talking about us. Preacher, how can you tell me to walk with my head up high? How can you tell me to walk with my head high when sickness has entered my body? Preacher, how can you tell me to hold my head up when all my money done run out? I'm suffering, I'm in pain, I need some help. Preacher, how can you tell me to look to the hills which cometh my help? Well, Bethel, I got good news for somebody this morning. We serve an awesome God. We serve a God who is able in the midst of our trouble, no matter what you're going through. See, we serve a God in the midst of our suffering. We serve a God in the midst of our pain. We serve a God that will make a way out of nowhere. When the world have turned their backs on you, we serve a God that is able to do exceedingly and abundantly of all things that we can do. Oh, we had a praying church here this morning. You see, the hymn writer wrote, hymn writer that summed it up. He said, when I need him most, Jesus stepped right in. Just when I need him most. I wish I had a praying church that was morning. But now listen to our text as Paul write to the Corinthian church this second letter. See, Paul write the second letter to the church in Corinth because after he wrote the first letter and took it himself to the Corinth church, Paul and his relationship with the church had begun to deteriorate. And Paul visited the church in Corinth, and he and the members of the church at some point in time had begun to deteriorate and fall apart in the grace of God. And in the relationship, and their relationship was not as strong as it used to be. So Paul writes another letter, not the second letter. Theologians let us know that Paul writes another letter, and he sent this letter by Titus. He sent it by Titus to Corinth because he's upset that his relationship with the church has deteriorated. Well, I just want to say to somebody in the building and to some of my clergy members, just because you're a preacher, that don't mean everybody in the church gonna like you.
That's right.
Well, I wish I could get a witness here. See, some folks ain't gonna like you because you're doing good. Some folks ain't gonna like you because you're loving everybody. See, some folks ain't gonna like you because they can't have their way. I wish I had a witness there. Some folks ain't gonna like you because you're giving somebody else an opportunity. See, some folks ain't gonna like you because you're telling them that the church belongs to everybody. So Paul is dealing with the church being deteriorated. So Paul sent this letter by Titus, and he confirmed with Titus to meet him at Troas so he could find out how the church respond to his letter. But Titus did not make it to Troas. The Bible says Titus didn't meet Paul there. So Paul left Troas and he went to Macedonia. And there he met Titus, and Titus he had some good news for Paul. Titus said, Paul, I got some good news for you. He said, you've been worrying about your relationship with the church, and it's not as bad as you think it is. What you trying to say right there, preacher? See, this morning, Sister Rosalie, she had a misstep and she fell, and everybody was concerned. But the God we serve say, hold up, it's not as bad as you think it is. See, we serve an awesome God, no matter what you're going through. You see, so